Hey, passengers, welcome back to LEM Podcast. It's your co pilot, Tracy, speaking alongside co pilot Heather. And today we're jumping back into sex talk and we're going to be covering abstinence. It's a very relatable topic for the both of us at the moment.
I am choosing this life. I've been on this road for nearly 3 years now.
Wow, insert some round of applause audio.
I don't need to be applauded. I love it. It's just a way of life for me.
I mean, hey, I applaud you. I think that's amazing. I'm right behind you, girlfriend. Half the time, but mine wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't a choice. But now it is. I feel you. I like it. I like being abstinent.
Yeah. When people talk about losing your virginity and having sex, they're like, you're going to want to have sex every day, every hour, on the hour. You need to get it done. And that just isn't the case. It's not like a necessary step in your everyday life, like drinking water. You don't turn into a sex maniac. And I mean, it's fun. Let me not pretend like it's not a fun thing. It's a fun task. But is it necessary to breathe? No. So I applaud all abstinence.
I didn't know where you're going to go with that. But that's interesting you say that, because when I was in high school with this girl, we were in, I believe it was biology together. And she's a year under me. And she was like, she found out I was a virgin. She was like, oh my gosh, Tracy, like, that's good, because once you start having sex, like, you're going to crave it. And I was like, oh, wow, really? She's like, yeah, like, when I first lost my virginity, it was just like I wanted it all the time. So that kind of stuck in the back of my mind. Now, when I did get around to doing the act, I kind of understood what she was talking about, but it just wasn't, I don't know how to, it wasn't as hardcore as she had like made it out to be about craving. But abstinence. So what made you decide to be abstinent, since you said it's been a choice for you from the get-go?
I haven't really thought about this in a long time. So I chose to be abstinent just because I had always wanted to wait until marriage. And obviously, that wasn't the case for me. No regrets. But I just realized, like, yeah, I could have my whole phase and live this life that everyone talks about, when you're young and you just want to like go out, be free. And I feel like I just didn't really find myself comfortable with having sex casually. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to wait. Like, it's not super serious to me. Like, you can still date, have fun, and not have sex. So that's why I just chose, like, okay, now I'm going to wait until I meet my husband.
A husband. What if you find, like, when you finally get into a relationship, it's just your boyfriend? Are you still going to hold on to being abstinent?
Absolutely. If he doesn't value my values and my views and what I want, then, he's not meant to be with me.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know you wanted to just remain abstinent till you got married.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I don't know. I don't talk about it, but yeah, that's my plan, and that's what got me started on this journey. What about
Mm-hmm.
you? When did you start being abstinent?
I was forced into this lifestyle, all because of coronavirus. I was
Coronavirus.
it put me out of business.
Oh Lord.
I wasn't selling Gucci on the street. I'm just saying, I just stopped because we were all in lockdown, and I wasn't trying to do that with anybody. Like, even when I did go on those little dates, flashback to whatever episode, those park dates, I wasn't having sex with them, and so I just kept going, just being absent. Like, after a while of being like, damn, like I wasn't like super active before, but it was like I enjoyed casual, I enjoyed that. Like it didn't really like mean much to me where I felt guilty about it, or, I didn't have like a goal of anything. It was just something casual, like, dating, part of dating life. So when it all stopped, it was like, damn, now I gotta stop doing something I enjoy. And as the year went on, I was like, damn, I haven't had sex in like a year. And then, of course, I got a little sad about it. And I was like, well, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? It's like, girl, nothing. Just chill. It's cool. It's fine not to, not to be involved with that.
Yeah.
So I've just become accustomed to it at this point. So we're in June, so yeah, a year and 6 months, and it's not really like a thought because I'm not involved with anyone. But I feel like if I did start to date again, or when I do start to date again, I'll start thinking about it. But as of right now, it's too hot to think about anything. So
Yeah, there's no rule book to abstinence. You can start whenever and end whenever.
yeah, it's funny because I just started watching The Secret Life of an American Teenager. Told you about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what the girl's name is, but she was like known as like the school whore or whatever because she had sex a lot and she didn't really like care what anybody said about her. And it's like the episode where she was thinking like, wow, maybe I should be abstinent. And that kind of leads me into like my next little point of like, when you choose to be abstinent, what are some like signs that lead you up to it? It could be anything. Like if you're considering reconnecting with yourself, if you feel like you need to start on the road to like your self-discovery, it's a good thing to like, you may want to consider abstinence because it's like a transfer of energy whenever you lay down with someone like that. So if you're spiritual, or even if you're not, you may want to consider that like abstinence as a part of your regime, because it gives you time to reset, and you just gotta clear those impurities in a sense.
Yeah.
Or even if you feel like that's not your situation, maybe you just feel like you're having sex for all the wrong reasons, or for people who are addicted to sex and don't realize it. Yeah, sit down and really look at yourself like, well, why am I doing it? How often am I doing this? Is it a problem? Can I not go a day without it? Then it's like, yeah, take a break.
I also think that sometimes you put too much of your worth in your time with someone else. That could be you feel the most beautiful when you're having sex or when you feel wanted. I think reconsider and take a break and reflect and just think like, is this something that I want to do or do I just want to feel something?
Yeah, that kind of ties in with like having sex for all the wrong reasons. It
Yeah.
should be something that's fun and enjoyable on for both parties. Like, if you feel like you're not enjoying it, or you feel like you're just giving away too much of yourself, then it may be a good time to consider abstinence. Just try it out for a few days, few months. See how you feel after. You may have a clear mind, like professional athletes before a big game or a competition. It's like a common thing for them to be absent before so
They
that they
need to
can
keep
focus
all their
on,
juices in. Yeah, so they're revved up.
to maintain focus and drive. Yeah, use that in their sport or whatever they're in the category.
Gosh, I don't want to seem like we're team abstinence. If you're not abstinent, don't be abstinent.
I mean, I say we're Switzerland. It's just because that's what we're doing right now. We're
Yeah.
pro abstinence, but we're not trying to force it. It's just something to consider. If you thought about it and you want to see, hey, can I go this long without having sex? If that's even a question for you, then maybe, yeah, you might want to consider.
And if you're in a relationship, it could be fun to hold out.
Yeah,
Like,
because
let's
there's
switch
different
things
forms
up.
of intimacy.
Yes.
And A lot of times you may be in a relationship and it's based purely on just sex. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of key benefits to it. It's the number one birth control out there, just to let you know.
I think it's super important to touch on. I saw this video months ago, so I won't be able to link it or quote it directly, but this man said that he basically wouldn't have been with his wife if she had had sex. And I definitely don't want to seem like we're even swaying towards the idea that women are better if they have sex, if they don't have sex or not. But I think it's super important that we just can understand that those men are crazy, and choosing abstinence should be something that you choose for yourself, like we've mentioned before.
Right. And it's a choice you make every day. For the girlies and the guys that are considering it or have been considering it, you're like, just not sure if I can do it. Some tips on how to stay abstinent. Firstly, you want to figure out why you're doing it. Why do you want to be abstinent? Because if you don't have a reason for why you're doing something, you're most likely going to lose motivation for it. So you have to remind yourself, like, why you chose to be abstinent. And then think about, like, the consequences. The consequences, like, oh, if you break your abstinence, what could that mean for you? Whether it be you feel like you couldn't do it, and you're like, man, maybe I really do feel like I have a problem. And another thing is to stick with your decision until you can really think about it with a clear head. Don't reevaluate your decision. If you're gonna do it, do it. Just stick with it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to find loopholes around it.
And don't find yourself in compromising situations, like you're choosing to be absent, but you're in the bed with some guy at midnight. You know?
Yeah, like that's setting
Be
yourself up
smart
for
about it.
failure. Exactly. Give yourself 27 days to form a habit. I'm pretty sure there's other things you can be focused on besides having sex.
Don't let anyone pressure you into it, or even if you're younger now, and how T had that story about someone saying you're going to be addicted to it. It's not the
That's
end all be all.
right. And that's because she was too young to be having sex.
Yeah. Sex should be fun, and taking time to yourself is fun as well.
It is. Because like I said, there's different forms of intimacy. It doesn't always have to be down to the nitty gritty.
And who really has time for prep nowadays, you know?
Exactly. Take a break. I think we talked about
Yes.
this before, like in a different sex talk. The prep, like, okay, if you need some motivation to stay abstinent, just think about this. That prep time is killer. $60 for a full Brazilian,
Oh
and
my
the pain you
gosh.
go through, is it really? You could do without that for a few months. You know, that $50 can go towards a new set of nails or whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Those regular, you should, still be going to the doctor regularly, but it'll cut down your visits of having to get tested. And if you're not on birth control, or you're not, using any kind of contraceptives, it'll put you out of ease because you don't have to worry about pregnancy scares or STD scares.
Yeah. And you really need to be careful with these STDs, people, because you never know.
Never know. The main benefit, the main factor of abstinence is free. It's free and it's stress free, and it'll help you reconnect with yourself. Stop giving yourself away so much.
I think it's a win-win experience.
It is.
I 10 out of 10 recommend. 100 out of 10.
Right. Just try it. I mean, honestly, if it's a big issue to you, you're like, I cannot be abstinent, I think abstinence is for you.
Yeah. And if you feel like, oh, I can't be abstinent because my partner, then maybe try it out.
Just talk to them. Let them know it's not a forever thing. It's just sometimes you need to give your body a break and reset. I'm
Absolutely.
talking to the ladies on that one. Like, you just got to give your little cha-cha rest.
She can't handle all that.
Condoms will knock off your pH balance.
Yeah, the
Certain
latex.
lubricants would do that. Like, she's a sensitive girl down there. Any foreign object in there is a chance to knock you off. So
Right.
abstinence is the best way to go. Gives you a clear mind. You don't have to worry about it. But I think it's kind of like a little romance story that you're waiting for your husband.
I'm excited. I'm excited to wait it out. And if you guys are thinking of waiting until not even your husband, your next partner or whatever may have you, I suggest waiting it out too. It could be fun. It could be special between you and that person.
It could be. It's like going on a tolerance break. But we'll keep you guys updated. I feel like I want to go more into the spiritual benefits. All my artists out there now, like I was saying with professional athletes, how they have to hold off. Their coaches make them hold off on having sex before a game or a tournament. Same thing applies with people who are artists. It can heighten your creativity, keeps you inspired, forces you to use your imagination a little bit more. That is definitely something that I can relate to as far as like the creative side, you know?
Yeah. You can just put more focus into like other activities or hobbies you have.
Just like a refocus, a reset. Now, I feel like we should be clear about the difference between abstinence and celibacy. I feel like celibacy is more of a long term. Like what you're doing right now, you're celibate. You know,
Right.
you're waiting, like you have a set time of you're like, okay, I'll do it again. Me, I'm just abstinent.
Right.
So you can think of it as like celibacy is more of a celibacy is more of a long term, abstinence is short term. You don't really have like a set date or time frame of how long you want to refrain from it.
It kind of releases the pressure of the situation, especially if you're new to being abstinent. Then try abstinence first. And if you want to do long term, then be
Consider
celibate.
celibacy. Yeah, I think that's like you're talking about relationships. Like if you want to be abstinent during a relationship, it sounds scary because you're like, oh my God, what is my partner gonna think? It's just like you just need some time. You're not telling them that you're gonna just refrain from sex forever or for this extended time. So it should be an easier conversation as long as you guys understand that key difference between the two.
Yeah. And if you are going to have a conversation with your partner, I think just be super clear on what's happening. Say there's no time limit, but I just want to focus on me or take a break from being intimate sexually. And this doesn't mean forever. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. It's nothing like that deep. And being abstinent or celibate does not mean that you can't have fun dating, or sex isn't the only thing that goes into dating. So just remember that it's not going to hinder your dating life at all or how much fun you have. It's just another way of living.
All right. And if you're looking for more of a serious relationship, it'll challenge you to see if you're really compatible, because a lot of times in this day and age, relationships are built on a foundation of lust. So that's something to consider.
If you guys are trying it out and you're in current relationships, let us know how it goes.
Please, hit our DM. They're always open.
At Land Podcast, if you forgot. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We had so much fun during the sex talk series, and we'll see you next week for a dating episode.
Hey. Bye guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next week.